Audio check, audio check. 1, 2, 3, audio check. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media universe. So glad to be hosting another episode of this award-winning show. It is April 1st, 2025. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And we have fired Pedro Garcia. That's why he is not on the screen today. And today, instead, we're having Steven Crowder on the show. No, it's an April Fool's joke. Pedro's just getting his camera on. And ladies and gentlemen, he's always my co-host right here on the DYOR Media Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pedro Garcia.
What is up, my peoples? How is everyone doing? How you doing, Tom?
Good. Your camera hasn't started or whatever the story is there.
No worries. It'll start here in just a second. There we go.
Woo! Woohoo!
There you are. Up close and personal.
Doing well, Pedro. Pedro, what is today?
Today is April Fool's Day.
Today is Technical. It's Technical Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. That is the day when we go over in depth the economy and how it affects your investing, especially how it affects the economy, which it affects your investing, which affects your cryptocurrency. That's what I was trying to get to there. But it's Technical Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. As you well know, we go over everything from crude oil to gold to bonds to all that type of stuff. So ask a lot of questions. We always have a lot of. Let me rephrase that. Pedro has a lot of answers for you. And it's just a good day to get a lot of the economic indicators out there, find out what's going on in the market. And every couple of months that we do this, it seems to change a lot. Just a couple of months ago, everything was like, well, and then it was like, hey, optimism, woo, and then it's like, again. Tariffs in the picture now. People moving money, the dollar's weakening. Companies moving monies overseas, selling dollars, just to pick up some other currencies because they don't know what's going to happen with the tariffs. I frankly think nothing's going to happen with the tariffs. I don't think it'll affect really the market at all because ultimately politics will win and there'll be lots of exemptions, just like Mr. Trump's last version of it. And I don't think that much will happen. But then again, I don't have a PhD in the Damus land like Mr. Garcia does. He's also on mute, too.
You blow me up way too much. You hype me up way too much, man. I'm just a guy who looks at charts. And then I piece together basically a narrative that fits what I'm seeing in the charts. That's really it. So, and it's been doing pretty darn well. So it's been fun.
Pretty darn well. Anyway, Pedro, what is going on with the markets this morning?
Yeah, so markets today have been pretty fun. They've gone up. Actually, they went down,
again.
Then up, then down, and then guess what? From there happened. It went up.
It went up. Yeah, it's why I didn't do any trading today, but I was watching BTC, and all of a sudden this morning there's just a dump. It just dumps, and all of a sudden it's just said dumps over, time to pump, and it just ran up $3,000 in about 25 minutes or so, something like that. It was amazing, but unfortunately I was not in the market for the short or the long.
I agree. It was kind of crazy watching what was happening. The isms came out. I don't know.
The isms?
Yeah. Give me a second. Where are you
at? Caroline gets her own. Is that her name, Caroline?
Yeah.
She gets her own her own listing in there.
Oh, absolutely, dude. She is a force to be reckoned with. I would not want to have to go. I would not want to verbally joust with her because she is just she's a beast. You know what I'm saying? Too many times we've seen her just pummel. I think it's a good word. Pummel.
She doesn't just verbally joust with the reporters. She just shuts them down for asking dumb questions.
Yeah, and it's not even like it's in the past we've seen them at least play with the reporters right and acknowledge their stuff. But what I find interesting is her way of really just not caring and just getting directly to the point is one of those things that you're just like, wow, dude, she is ruthless. Like, and she gets to the point in a way that is not even like fair. Like, it's like, that is dumb. If you were a sane thinking person, you would have put these two together. But now you're just wasting other people's time being here. Like it's almost, it's almost that.
Oops, sorry. Let me take that out of your ear there.
Why is that happening? And there we go. I do not want to buy. Maybe this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, I turn the background music on as always. Let me know if it's too loud, or if you can't hear it, let me know that too. Pedro, while you're fixing that,
Yes.
I mocked up the Bitcoin.com thing. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Pedro does some things for Bitcoin.com now and then. Thought I'd just give him a little shout out yesterday, reading off some of their tweets, and today I thought I'd use. I've been working on the great graphic machine over here, and I'm using them as the test thing over here. We're not sponsored by Bitcoin.com, but I'm just running their logo from their website there just to see how it works, and give Corbin a little "hey, thank you very much" type thing for doing working with Pedro. I don't know what he's doing with the poor camera of his.
Lord, dude, like it was great. Everything was kind of ready, and then I didn't move it, and now it's just all jacked up.
She's all jacked up. The price actually updates now on that too. Let's see.
There we go. And is that making me look like I'm crazy? Okay, there you are. I'm already looking like I'm crazy. Okay. Where is this at? Where are you? Jolts. Here we go. No. There we are.
Cannot reach this page.
Come on. There we go. Tuesday. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I know you guys like. So it's manufacturing PMI. Basically, it was below the average by 0.5. And then the manufacturing pricing was up. Basically, this is just stuff that lets us know whether or not we are, the price is going up. That's really it in a nutshell by manufacturing. So if you got to put money up or money down, and if you guys ever want to go into like this, that is basicrypto.com, not crypto, excuse me, that is investing.com. You go to the, come on, please work. I don't understand why.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, no technical difficulties from striking, but Pedro is now the victim.
Isn't that funny? All right. I was just noticing too. I was like, yeah, no issues. We just came right on. Did you check to make sure that they can hear us?
I monitored it. Yeah.
Good. Nice. All right. I love it. Like McDonald's. I'm loving it. All right. So basically, it's you can see if you want to click on it, you can see here, like if you don't understand what these things are, 3 stars on here is a significant market mover. It basically lets you know good or bad, and you should be paying attention to it. The institution of supply management is what the isms, what they call it. Institution I, supply management, which is IS or isms. So supply management is what we call them, right? Manufacturing purchase managers indexes report on business is based on data compiled from monthly replies to questions asked in purchasing and supply executives of over 400 industry companies. For each of the indicators measured, new orders My eye is literally tripping out on me. There we go. New orders blocking backlog of orders. New exports, orders, imports, and production supplier delay. Anyways, basically it just lets them know what's actually coming, how much they're producing, and is pricing going up or is it going down for them. And so that's what they look at to let us know, kind of see if inflation is going to come. And so the numbers here, as you can see for this, is you can go in, like you just click on it, it opens up, it lets you know what it wants, it's the explanation of what it is. And so we saw it kind of go down, and then this one for the ISM prices is going up. So manufacturing going down, right? Seeing a slowdown in manufacturing. We're seeing increase in pricing, inflation. So that's not a good sign. Again, I've talked about this multiple times, multiple shows, that Trump's economy all hinges on him establishing and getting manufacturing back here in the US ASAP as soon as possible. If he does not, everything else that we're going to go over today will fall apart, and it will be bad for America. And then we'll be asking for help, and the rest of the world will also be falling apart. So, about to go on. Let's do this. Okay. Now, when we look at what's actually happening here in America, first, let's go ahead and start at, like I always do, the bonds are the ones that are telling the story, right? Bonds and yield. So let's go check out the 10-year yield is typically the main manufacturing. Now, real quick, let me pull this up because you can't see that. Is this, am I tripping? Technical Tuesday. For whatever reason, it just shows the DYOR live thumbnail. It's not.
Oh, come on.
I don't know why. But while Tom is doing that and we're getting that taken care of, I want to shout out to our resident doctor, Dr. Chuck Jansen. Thank you so much for being here in the show. You are ever faithful, my friend. Thank you for always being here. I'm about to populate some stuff while you're doing that. Also want to go over to our friends over at Rumble. Rumble, thank you so much for what you're doing. I think we're in the producers or thing, what I forget what you call it, but it's weird that we don't have anybody there. Normally you have at least 2 or 3 people there, so we actually aren't really being there. You go.
The studio says we have 3 people in Rumble.
I just see 1, so
yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But all I know is that the Rumble studio is once again giving us grief. It just auto switched my camera to something else from the feed and it's blocky.
Okay.
Oh,
this is going to look crazy, but these are actually glasses as well. They actually help me see.
You literally look like Stevie Wonder, but
good.
Let's do it.
We are the world. We are the children. No, wait. Yeah, that was Stevie Wonder, right?
Yeah, he was on the We Are the World group yet.
Here we go. Here we are. I've been meaning to pay this guy for a minute. These guys who make these little knickknacks, right? I don't know what to call them, but like the little apps that you can draw or you can do a quick calculation by pulling up. Those guys rock, man. Those little apps are amazing. So, all right, let's jump right into this, guys. Now that we have it all set up here. Now, first, actually, let's go into Bitcoin, and then we'll go into everything else here. So Bitcoin, we're seeing it pull back primarily because of 2 reasons. One being that we're seeing a market that is following the stock market and really kind of hand in hand with what we're seeing with the NASDAQ. And so it's one of those things that I want to make sure that we understand. The pullbacks and stuff like that is really an indication of the stock market and its movements with Bitcoin. You have traders. Guess what, guys? The institutions are involved in crypto and they're mean. So, hey, you got your wish. Now, one of those things that they're always looking to do is they're always looking to take your liquidity, your stops. And so, what they'll do a lot of times is they'll go through, they'll go up, they'll go down, take your liquidity, go back up, let you go long again. They'll take that liquidity, they'll drop it back down until you basically just want to get out of the market, be done. And then it goes in the direction that you like. My hope here is to help you guys out so you can avoid those circumstances and situations. So, really important that you understand that. Now, with that, as we're watching Bitcoin come up and tap that 8 period and the 20 period moving average sitting here, again, this is a liquidity pool, right? I've talked about we should see it go down here, but right now we don't really have a real substance saying that it's going to go up, right? We haven't seen any real volume coming into the buy side, even though it's pushing up here. So for me, I'm definitely more of a Bitcoin bear right now, until they really see a huge drop and then we see the real buyers step in. So this is where they're kind of playing with you. So don't get caught up here. If you're in a long or you're in a short, just make sure you take your profits quick, because long story short, they're going to try to take your profits. Take your profits, get back in.
Always pay the trader.
Yeah, pay yourself, okay? All right, so let's jump into here real quick what I'm expecting with the Nasdaq. With the Nasdaq, I've talked about this now a few times, right? The few times is that I do expect us to kind of get down to that 10,000 mark area. We've been bouncing now. We came down to the 400 period moving average, okay, on the long-term movement. So we were going to see a big bounce. We talked about seeing a bounce off of that 18,000 area. So we're coming to that period here. And you can see here we hit the 400 as well as this zone, which is a monthly zone sitting here. So actually we didn't really hit it. We barely just came down to it and bounced off. I think this is a rope a dope. So they're bouncing off to where I think they're going to blow through this zone. So we're already seeing a little pump already from it. They'll come back down, bounce off it, go up a little. So again, make sure you take your profit, but leave some there in case it does run if you're looking to go long for a long period of time on the NASDAQ. Okay. So we're paying attention. That's what I'm going to do. Then again, the next thing, once it closes through this on the NASDAQ, we'll see something like this. Boom, boom, come back down, hit, and then follow through on that again. So I'm expecting to see something like that with the NASDAQ. Again, that's going to be similar to how we're going to watch Bitcoin play until we really come down into these lower levels within Bitcoin. We've talked about Bitcoin hitting that 50,000 to 30,000. Many of you guys, I kind of walked this out of my head, and this is really what I'm expecting. And I think it's really important to understand. One of the things we keep talking about is that institutions want your liquidity, right? Well, what's one of the things that we know that miners do? They give liquidity and they take liquidity, right? So they create it and then they either keep it or they will what? They'll sell it off, right? So if they can keep miners from mining, right, and make it just, what's the word? Not profitable for them, then the institutions can come in, create their own miners, set it up at a really low point, and then we've talked about this yesterday, creating money for themselves and keeping the, I hate to say it, but the novices out, right? And then once they get enough of their liquidity that they want at a low point, then they'll push it back up. We've talked multiple times as a 20-year period, long-term view, 30-year period, like anywhere between 10,000 to 100,000 is basically a base. When we expect, when I say we should see the market over the next 20 years of Bitcoin get to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, right? And this would be a 10x for them, which would be a big deal in traditional finance. And so it's important to understand where they're looking at as a long term, as a trading perspective, as an institutional perspective, institutional trader perspective. So how is this going to happen? And I've talked about this. Trump, with his system, he has Bassett. Bassett is one of his primary financial guys. If you watched the All In podcast, you can see the interview with Bassett, his primary financial guy who's running the treasury, trying to set everything up. Again, they're creating a America First mindset in hopes to make money. Just so you know, bro, we're again at, it was switched. The thumbnail was switched again.
Oh, come on. What the hell? Why does it keep doing it? Keeps turning my camera off and then I'm even monitoring it too and I didn't see it.
Now, this is important because Trump's, Elon's, and Bassett's system that they're trying to create as well. And what is his head of state? Why am I forgetting his name?
Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio. He's like, I think Rubio will probably be a president in the next 15, 20 years. I very much think that. I know he's ran a couple times, but he is just gaining so much popularity. And so this idea of him setting things up and creating a strong America for him is smart. Now, we're going to create a lot of enemies here with what Trump is trying to do. But in that same sense, him setting this up into the future, if he can nail down manufacturing coming into America and establishing real jobs. Now, granted, we all know in 20 years, I'm not going to do manual labor, nor are you. It's going to be the robots.
Right.
But in between that stage of happening, it's going to again put America back on top. So there's this manufacturing situation that's going to happen that if it can get created, it's what's going to be pushed out. Let's look at what needs to happen for that. You need low interest rates. The reason why? Because when you have low interest rates, what happens? It makes it cheap for people to borrow money, establish buildings to create manufacturing.
Especially because manufacturing is capital intensive. And so there's going to be borrowing. That's for sure.
Yes.
Lots of it.
Yes. This is why I said, guys, when Trump comes in, expect the yields to kind of get back on track. And also for the 10-year, we talked about it around here, right? Back in January at its peak, I said expect it to go down because of what Trump wants to do. Remember, we talked about this being I flipped it. Yeah, I need to turn it back to red. Boom. It was a flip zone. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to be that in your ear. Come on. Sometimes I probably have to start I don't want to get LASIK. Anyway, sorry. So you guys can hear my thoughts.
Oh, I don't have the graphics set up right for this screen. Darn it. Thought I had everything all advanced in Coolio, but got the black screen there.
It is all good. So you can see here, as the market is selling off, we came back, hit. Am I tripping? Yeah, I am tripping today.
Pedro's tripping.
All right, so you can see here, this became a flip zone. It bounced fairly off this, sold through, came back up, tested this area. Now we're seeing the sell off here. So this is a good thing for America, business, as well as other world stuff that's going on. But more importantly, if this stays this rate, and if Europe keeps beating the war drum, their interest rates are going to keep going up and our interest rates are going to go down. Okay. And it's almost kind of like what we kind of want as a manufacturing setup, right? If they go into war, if we see Russia push hard and really start to overstep his boundary, if we start to see China decide it wants to take Taiwan, right? Which we've seen, this is going to create another European war. And what's going to happen is basically America is going to become another manufacturing giant if this happens. And I think this is what maybe he's kind of being set up. So this is the yield going down. Where's it going to go to? I expect, we've talked about this, coming down to that 375 to the 350 area here, and potentially even lower as we trade down. We're at a necking point. I hate to use this because I hate I just don't think head and shoulders work well, but most people understand it in the sense, here's the neck of the head and shoulders. If we close below this neck right here with volume, expect us to come down as the 10-year yield to go down, which then would do what? Increase the 10-year bond. We're already seeing the 10-year bond step in, and we're already watching. They already put in a bunch of buys here at this low point, and they're consolidating it right here, as you can see. So I expect us to see a breakout to the upside as we see a breakdown in the yields. right? So where will this most likely go? Let's talk about it. Boom, boom. We got literally the only real resistance that we have on this level is literally up at the 140 area. So look at this area as if you're going to take this into a long. This is where I'm looking to really see some resistance come in, but that is primarily from the monthly zone here. Give me 1 second as I change that here. And as we're watching this, we can see it. You can already see them putting in a good little base of buyers who over the last year, you can see here as it came in, they came in, bought, and now expected to go up. The first real resistance is going to be at that 50, which is going to be the 17 or 117 area. And then the next resistance area is going to be that 124 to the 122 area here, as you can see. And then from there, you'll expect it to go up. Now, this looks like a jumble mess, so let me go ahead and rephrase that again or redo that. You can see here that at this level here, where the 50 period moving average is the first real area that we're going to see resistance. We should see a pullback. So price should do this and then come back down and create a lower high for the 10-year note. Then after that, we'll see it go up again and then come back down. We'll see you do this type of movement and then continue up. After we blow through these areas here, it's nothing but sky until we get to the 141 area, which this is the same correlation area that we should expect to see. This is really important, which I've talked about is that 2% mark area. If we can get the percentage down to 2%, right, of the 10-year yield, okay, that's this area here. That's that 270, 250 to that 180, 160. This is where we see really a lot of juice going into the market and things getting going from there. Now, who are going to be the buyers? It might just be Americans because the rest of the world is giving us the finger and saying peace. But the reality is the Americans do buy. And so I could see it still bringing a lot of support to American businesses and have our own little economy going. So it's going to be something that's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. All right, let's check out now. The next point here is to check out the dollar. Now, the dollar is doing exactly what we talked about. We saw it at the beginning of the year, right? With Trump at that 109, 108. And I said, guys, expect this to come down to this original one, which is the 104, 103 area. I took that off. And then from there, expect to see liquidity pool bounce up, come back. And I thought we were going to hit the 8-period moving average and then pull back down, but it really went from liquidity pool to the 20-period. And now we're kind of consolidating here. I'm expecting this to continue down. Why do we want the US dollar to continue down? From a business standpoint, if I had to pick one country that is producing a lot of stuff, but the problem is it costs my businesses a lot of money to actually do business with them. Well, I don't want to, I'm not going to want to do it. So where am I going to go? I'll pick a different country to do business with if their dollar is lower. So if their currency is lower, i.e. US, which produces pretty darn good equipment or pretty darn good whatever we want to start to create, that's where this becomes a an important thing, because if the US dollar goes down, this actually helps Trump from a financial standpoint to bring over business into America, i.e., manufacturing, which creates jobs, which hence potentially, and a lot of people are talking about, we potential could get into a World War III situation. Creating manufacturing back here would be an important thing to do if Europe and other parts of the world starts to get in fights. So it's important to pay attention to it. The next part, or if we decide we want to start to get in that fight, we have the manufacturing process to be able to do it. And a lower dollar is an important thing. So right now we're kind of seeing it put in a lot of supply wicks and demand wicks. I'm expecting it to go further down as we continue to go down. Next thing we're going to look at is, let's check out crude oil. So we did a further bounce on what I was expecting on crude oil. As you guys can see,
Are you
Trump
looking at the
saying,
spot price or a futures month?
this is futures month. Yeah.
Which month?
Right. This is the March contract. And going into
Wait,
the
shouldn't the March contract be over?
yeah, well, it's March, April. So it's March, May contract, but we're not necessarily there. It's still continuing. It starts at the March and it continues forward. It's behind, boom, moves forward into the April or May contract here. So you can see here. Um, we're already seeing, and again, what do I always harp on when it comes to this stuff, right? Volume, 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 volume. You can see here that we had a lot of sellers coming in at these levels here. You can see how it correlates. As prices starting to move up, as we're seeing here, you can see that price right here is kind of just stagnant. It's not necessarily, you can see here, you can see right here that price is kind of just going down. You're seeing volume step off, right, as we're moving up. And so I'm expecting this to peter out and go down. I thought we were going to hit the 8 or 20, but it's coming up and testing the 100 and the 50 period moving average right up in these levels here. So this is going to be a really interesting mark. Again, we're in the new quarter, so I expect it to first go up to go down. So how far is it going to go up? I don't know. We could come back, retest that 200 period moving average, sitting at the 72 or 76. And then from there, see it continue down. But we'll find out as we continue. So I think this is a short-term burst up in crude oil before we go down. You can see here, we see an increase in volume at this level here as it comes down. And then as it moves back up, we're seeing a decrease in volume. So that's what I'm expecting. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So the next one that we're going to look at is crude, or we're going to look at uh, gold. Now, I talked about last week the ratio of gold to silver. In history,
Hold on,
we've
hold on, hold on,
seen
hold on. Was it 50 to 1?
nope,
Oh, 12 to 1.
12 to 1.
Ah, I
Exactly.
had it in there somewhere.
12 to 15, not 50.
Oh, 12
Did you say 15 or 50?
I started out with 50.
Yeah, no, 15 to 1. It's 12 to 15 to 1 has been the average American or the average gold movement. So, again, shout out to our people over at Rumble. Please hit that thumbs button. I really appreciate it. Or even say something. We got 4 people over there. We're struggling over there. If we could just get a little love as I
Show
give
us
you
the
this.
love, ladies and gentlemen. Show us the love. Carmen Crypto in the house.
What up, Car? It's good to see you. Where in the world is Carmen Crypto?
And I got this thing all jacked up now. Now the comments are like these real small things.
Oh,
Thomas, Thomas,
hey, yeah,
come on.
Carmen. Also, what's up, Crypto Mike? Good to have you as well. All right, so let's check out. Yep, and now we are. There we are. Okay. So you can see here that we've been just screaming up. Our target for the year is really that 3,300, but we might get there much sooner before I expect it. I thought we'd get there mid July, August, but man, you can see here we don't got much. It's literally just been just popping like it's hot. So we talked about this
You
going
usually
up
sing when you
potentially,
say that.
popping like it's hot. I don't even remember. I know what you're talking about. All right. It's funny when I was in the Coast Guard, I had a friend of mine. His name was Santiago, and I used to do the what was it called? Many or 50 Cents "Many Men Wish Death on Me" song. But I used to sing it like in like an opera style. I used to be like, "Many, many, many men wish death on me, but I won't cry no more. I won't look
Our
to the
viewers are wishing death on you now.
sky no more. Have mercy on me." All right, so here we go. So really interesting to see that gold is starting to populate and get going. Hence, fears of war, uncertainty, taxes, craziness. So again, I do expect this to keep continuing higher. Expect a pullback down to the 330 area or the 30, 37 area here to find support on that 8 period moving average. and see what happens. It's really trending on the weekly. If you type in the weekly, and you can see how it's just been bouncing off of that 8. Pulls back down, taps to get more liquidity, and keeps on going. So it's really interesting. We'll find out if we hit this even sooner and to see it even come down. Now, what's important also to pay attention to is that we've seen an epic rise of copper. We talked about copper hitting this area here at the beginning of the year, and this thing flew. It came down to our area here, and we've watched it now go up to our seller area here, which is at the $5.19 area. The reason why we go over copper is because copper is what is used for the majority of manufacturing. You can't build a house, you can't build a building without copper. So when copper goes up, it throws things off. So expect now, once we're going to start building these buildings and things getting going, I'd expect copper to come down. Okay. And I think that's one of the things we're going to see, is seeing it cut through a lot of this here and come back down to the $4, $3 area, and potentially down to that 353, like the 360, 350 area here. So we'll find out what happens there. But we should see this come down as we start to see manufacturing really pick up in America. And I know that sounds weird because you're like, well, that's more demand for copper. Well, I think this has been artificially been bought up by our banks, been pushing this up to actually make things difficult for China and their manufacturing system, to put more pressure on their economy, hence then allowing them to fall further into their 2008. We've talked about their economy has been suffering. They're going through their 2008 like we went through, and they're trying to just kind of, they're funneling money. Quantitative easing is like nobody's business. Just like how we were throwing money at the economy, right? That's
Yeah.
exactly what they're doing, and they're just trying to find. This is the statement that uh, Xi Jinping talked about, basically saying America's being bullies, and we kind of are, just being honest. But again, we're trying to make America solvent again. So it's really important to understand we need these certain things to happen, and we can. And right now, we've lived over the last 20, 30, 40 years in a world where we've had peace. Here in America, oh, looks like we froze.
Not again.
Yep, I look like I'm weird there, right there. Yeah. Oh,
Why I don't understand why it keeps switching cameras. I don't understand that. Thankfully, it switches to one that's not currently plugged in.
that's funny. Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna
Yeah,
grab a piece.
I got it fixed there.
Oh,
You haven't noticed this because I turned off the feed to you, but to appease or to make Chuck happy, I've been running the sound effects of every time you say America.
oh yeah.
I'll turn it on just so you get the feel of it here. Where is it? America.
All right.
America.
All right. Okay. Oh, you can see here that I expect to see copper to come back down here. First row resistance we're going to see is really coming down into that 50 period moving average on the daily, and on the weekly it's going to be the 8. It's going to be that 4.84 area that I expect to see some resistance come in, and as well as the 4.67 area as well. So you're going to see a little play on that. So be ready for that as we start to see the sell off continue with copper. Okay, next. Now, this price is either going to be absolutely epic or absolutely just a horrid trade here. Okay, I don't think gold is going down. And I do think that we may see a run of silver trying to go back to its historical average. And right now, and like you said, it is almost a 50-to-1 ratio difference. That's where you got your 50. Whereas if we are to be at a correct level right now,
Yes.
silver would need to do a 10x to get a 10 to 15x to be the correct 12 to 15 ratio, right? And then that's really basically the correct ratio of historical terms between gold and silver has been a ratio of 1200% to 1500% difference. So if it was currently correct to the ratio, silver would either be at 360 dollars to about $500 is where it needed to be. That would be the correct ratio of silver to gold ratio. But right now it's literally at $34. So it is literally a 10 or a 12 to 15x difference of there to actually be at the correct ratio. So I say that because we're starting to see a lot of people buying and people are starting to sell, but they're selling. And so I think we might see a pickup of silver coming, at least trying for an all-time high. The all-time high is literally $50. Now, this was done by speculators back in 2011 and as well as 2000 and or excuse me, 79. Wait, this wasn't. Wait. That was it. I thought that was 2008. Yeah, I guess it was 2011. I forgot. I was thinking it was 2008. Oh no, yes, right. Sorry, I just remembered why. I got it confused with. Yeah, so 2011 is when we saw it push up. So I think we're coming back up. I think we're already hitting this resistance level here, and it's starting to blow it off, like get off of me. So I think we're going to see it push through this area here, and to see at least ever get to that 50, the $49, $50 area on silver, and potentially blowing through it, because once this thing starts going, it's hard to stop silver. So it's one of those things that you want to be able to be paying attention to here, right? And this is going to make inflation go up with everything. Copper drops, boom. But silver has a major manufacturing when it comes to everything electronics. A lot of stuff is based off of copper, gold, and silver. So it's going to be really interesting to see this play. Again, I think we're going to see a big pump. Expect this to come down to the 31 cent area as a pullback, and then continue up as we move forward here. You can see here it's been playing here. The 3-month area here, you can see it almost plays to a T. Boom, goes up. So we could play either 29 or 34, excuse me, 32 area. So just be ready for that. Again, there can be some slippage there, but that's what I'm looking for. Pull back until we get to a new all-time high potentially as we start to move into this next stage of the economy, which is basically means just a lot of turmoil. Now, it's just being honest, right?
That's a technical term, ladies and gentlemen, turmoil.
Yeah. Now, in relationship to this, you can play. There's a few plays to do. Expect the S&P to fall. If you're in crypto and you can't partake in literally the S&P 500 because you've been kicked out of our financial system, you can actually play the SPY on crypto, which basically follows the S&P 500. Okay, but it's crypto related, so it's pretty epic. I've been looking at this, thought it was pretty epic. And so if you want to play that, you can play that coming down to these lower levels that I've talked about. You can also do the Qs. Qs are also, I think it's called Stock Crypto Oracle is the company. It's PYTH is their system. Sorry. Um, but you can see here the Qs also play. So if you want to play off of that, that's the same trade, just on a different finger of the trade here. Now, one of the things I've been really looking and hoping is that, because I want to pick up more of the stock. This man, Elon Musk, has been receiving so much grief, and so his stock has been dropping. And I'm looking to pick up a lot more Tesla down at these lower levels of potential 100. At the end of the month, we saw it closed here with a lot of sell volume. We're going up first, which means that we'll probably go down by the end of the month as it continues down into our next 166 area. So we'll see what happens as we start to progress there. You can see the 6666 mark. They do that stuff almost on purpose, man. It's actually kind of weird. Anyways, so Meta starting to see a sell-off again. All of the top tech companies, they're basically exactly the same. You can see here drop. The majority of them are below the 20-period moving average on the month. Apple is still fairly strong. Um, Coinbase, which of all things is actually seeing a huge sell-off. If I can see, and that's going to sound crazy, but if I can see Coinbase come back down to that $45 mark area here, I'm definitely going to be picking up some Coinbase at 45 because it's one of those things that I've been waiting for. I missed out on it in 2023. And I want to get some as it comes back down. And then again, we all know the next bull run, it'll shoot back up, potentially be maybe at $500, $600. So get a little 10x from Coinbase here. We talked about Tesla, Netflix. Netflix is pretty much still bouncing off of that the 8-period moving average on the monthly here. So you can definitely play here, but it's a pretty strong stock. And that subscription model has been bangingly on, and they're doing really well. So if you're looking for something, that's another company to be potentially paying for as it starts to come down. All right, so that's it. In a nutshell, we talked ad nauseum about Michael Saylor yesterday. I don't need to belabor the point here. Here, going up first thing in the month, we all know what that means. But in the month, we should see it go down. I'm pretty sure we'll see it around that 140 area to the 180 area.
What's that strategy?
Yeah. So, yep, good old strategy. Okay, where are we at next? Okay, so you understand how this all works. All this stuff, if we see a drop in crude oil, we should see extra money to go into what? Crypto. So I'm expecting to see this kind of come down and play off of this level here. I expect BTC to come back down to these lower levels here. And potentially, if this is the next leg down, it will first go up first, tap that 50 period, which again will most likely play off our zone here again. And it'll be playing off of that 50 period. So we could see either find support here, sell off at that 8 and 20, or come and tap that 88 area and then see another leg down. So we'll see what happens there. And it's not looking promising, at least for today, because we don't have a demand wick. So we're going up first, most likely to go down. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. Dude, I flew through this today.
Yes.
I'm actually
Yes, sir. We've only been on the air an hour. Not even 50 minutes.
I know, dude. Dang. It only takes me like, whew.
Ladies and gentlemen, for everyone that's watching us on whatever platform, thanks for joining us today. You're watching Technical Tuesday. I'm going to play that again just because it's fun.
Question?
Hold on, on the stream, I'm playing the Technical Tuesday video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Technical Tuesday. Got any questions? Let us know here. My God, what the hell is going on with this thing? There. Let us know what's going on with the feed. If anything funny is going on, there's always something funny going on with it.
What's going on?
Can't get. Oh hell! I'm gonna go back to this view. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, the overall feeling of the market is not great. It's not bad. I mean, it's still, it's still the United States. Why doesn't this effing thing change? It's still the United States dominating the world economy. Not as great as everybody wants it to be, simply because Mr. Trump has put some uncertainty in the markets, and one thing the markets do not like is uncertainty.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, well, the markets are down. It's Trump's fault. Trump's fault. Trump's fault." Markets are down just a little bit. I mean, it's just, if you zoom out and look at the chart, it's just like, okay, well, it's just another dip. Probably going to swing low and then boom up again. I mean, every week, or every 2 weeks, however you want to count it, Americans pump billions and billions of dollars into the markets via their retirement funds. And that is a big driver of growth. And it's consistent. And I realize it goes down. If unemployment goes up, that means the amount of money people are contributing to the stock market via their IRAs and retirement plans is lower. But it's still a massive number. I mean, it's a huge ass number. And we have that luxury in the U.S. because we have so many workers doing that. A country that doesn't do that is China. China doesn't do that. Russia doesn't do that. In fact, most countries of the world don't do that. In fact, most of the countries in Western Europe, your pension is through the government. And they manage it like we manage Social Security, but it's an actual pension, not just a pittance amount. And so it's not the same, because governments can print money and fund those things however they want, usually by printing money. It's not the same. And here in the U.S., it's an amazing amount of money that we put in. And Pedro and I don't really address this so much. In fact, I'm going to do a little research on it, how the U.S. compares in private retirement funds versus other countries. I'm going to write that down because that is a massive driver. I shouldn't say driver. I should say that's a massive, consistent heartbeat of the market. Just every week, billions of dollars. It's like the mafia. Fuck you, pay me. Wall Street takes the money. Billions and billions of dollars from everyone every week. Every week. Wish I was in Bitcoin today. But like Pedro says, the market's going, he believes it's going lower. I got Pedro off camera here for a minute while he finishes his lunch. But anyway, I should speak from the Canadian point of view for a little bit too. In Canada, they do have big pension funds that the teachers contribute to, unions contribute to, and that type of stuff. City employees, and a lot of them invest in infrastructure-related things in Canada because the government gives them a tax break to do so. And it's a big amount of money, but it's not like in the U.S. where people have a massive amount of retirement funds flowing into the market every month. I should say every day. I mean, some people get paid weekly, some people get paid bi-weekly, some people get paid twice a month, some people get paid monthly, whatever. And that money, people contribute a lot of money to the market. Our background noise has once again died.
It's really interesting because Trump just came out and said, literally, it says White House says President Trump made up his mind on tariffs and Wall Street will be just fine. Which I thought was really interesting.
I thought Caroline Levitt said something funny to a reporter the other day. The reporter was complaining about, essentially he was complaining, the reporter wasn't asking a question, and how the tariffs the Americans are just going to have to pay the tariffs, which essentially is true. And if the prices rise, we pay a higher price. But if the market demands the prices don't rise, then they don't rise. And she just came right back and said, "Have you ever paid a tariff?" And she goes, "Name one tariff that you have personally paid." And he's like, I don't. Well, the goods I buy will have tariffs on them." And she's like, "Right, and you don't even notice it. You don't even notice it so much you can't even name one."
That's hilarious.
I know, it was so just the guy's like, And she made a good point. And the point is that tariffs raise the prices of things being imported into the country. But the price is determined. Everybody forgets the price isn't determined by some like government panel somewhere, like the old days of regulated airfare and trucking industry. The prices of things being imported are determined by the person selling it to the retail person. And if they determine that the price is too high, they will lower the price. And they do that a number of ways, Pedro. You know when they how they lower the price?
Oh.
They charge less and they make a smaller profit. And then they go back to their suppliers and say, hey, you're charging me too much. We're going to buy from someone else. And they say, well, we have a tariff. And then the person who sells to the public goes, I don't care if you have a tariff. I need a better price. So the person back in the country where the product came from goes back to their manufacturing floor and says, we need to do this more efficiently. We need a lower price. And so then someone on the floor says, all right, let's substitute polyethylene for polyimidimethylene or whatever, and we can save 10% on this cost. Great job. You're promoted. That's how that works. It does not like just everyone pays 15% more and is happy with it. Oh, okay, well, it's fine. It's always going to be 15% more. There's this thing called supply and demand, competition. I mean, one guy's going to say, all right, well, my price is 15% more than my competitor in Vietnam. So I need to get my price down. And suddenly his price with the tariff is the same as the guy in Vietnam. And now in the rest of the world where he doesn't have the same tariff, he's more competitive. I mean, I guess I get too used to understanding that a majority of the people on Blue Sky and on Threads are just either Russian and Chinese troll bots or morons. And they just don't understand. They start arguing things they don't understand.
Ignorant. Or just
ignorant.
Really, yeah, they just ignorant. You know, and it's not I don't think it's really a bad thing. I mean, they're a product of tribalism, which is human ideology. I mean, listen, I think the only reason why I don't really have a strong ideology towards things is literally because I was a foster kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that went to our idea of, I remember even in like grade school, high school, junior high, I just had different thoughts, you know, because the idea of familial connection, right, which is where you build your tribalism from a instinctual level, right? And you, oh, this is my family. My dad's the strongest man in the world. I never had that. You remember a kid was talking one time on the playground, was like, my dad's the strongest man in the world. And I said, stronger than Hulk Hogan? You know? I was like, have you seen wrestling? You see how big that dude is? You know? He's stronger than you know, so I just remember just that idea. And that all stems from like the idea of America and or whether you're for or against it, however you were brought up. And so their tribalism is within their, you know, political lent.
But the
lean.
I guess I'll complain a little bit in my new positive vibration way. Is that people need to go to school or at least use Grok for 1 minute or whatever ChatGPT you use to understand a topic at least a little bit. You know, go in and say, how do prices get set in a capitalist economy? And it's really easy to get an answer. It's like, well, there's multiple reasons why prices get to a certain point. One is just the guy selling it. Lowers the price, raises the price, suppliers costs, shipping costs, all this type of stuff. There's a million ways. And tariffs just are a little bit into it. And as soon as something gets more expensive, the markets adjust. And people go back to their suppliers and say, hey, this is you got to lower the price. And then they say, all right, well, we won't source it from China anymore. We'll source it from Bangladesh. You know, then manufacturing moves somewhere cheaper.
You know, yeah. Or you just have that country take away their tariff, like you saw Israel do.
Oh, the tariffs in Israel were massive for automobiles. Oh my God!
Right. I mean, and they literally said, you know what? We're going to eliminate all tariffs to avoid President Trump's reciprocal tariff. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought that was really interesting. I was like, wow, the most. I hate to say this, because I just found out I was actually, you know, I don't need to go into that, but the country that's most mindful of their money, and and there's not a race. Can we say that? Is it wrong to say that? Like I'm not gonna say it. It's better not to say. But the idea of like a culture that is stingy with their money, right? If they're willing to say, you know what, Trump, we got you. All right, we'll remove all our stuff. I think the rest of the world's gonna buckle and go, all right, well, we're gonna do it as well. And so we'll see reciprocal tariffs literally go to nothing because the rest of the world won't charge. And ultimately, I think that's smart because that allows for free trade, real free trade. Now, here's the part that's going to be crazy. If the US dollar drops, which is what I'm expecting, right, and we see it come down to this 100, it will make it advantageous for the rest of the world to buy from America. Whatever product that they can get here, they're going to get here. Because they have an upper edge to it because we're the world's common currency. When we go down, all other currencies should go up unless they're a complete disaster, like I don't know, Canada and the way they run their stuff. Just joking, just playing. We got like 90% of our viewers are Canadians. I always joke with them. Well, you're Canadian.
I don't. It's working. I just had to reload it.
Okay. But like in the same sense, I think there's so many things here that you need to be paying attention to and understanding from a political jousting perspective. As things start to unfold, as we move forward, I think the rest of the world's going to bow out and go, I'd rather have American dollars coming my way. And I think China politically jousting of America's being bullies. We're not going to subside to you guys. The rest of the world is going to go, bruh.
Bro.
I don't know. They're like, I don't know, bro. So I think it's going to be real interesting to see as we progress further what's actually going to come along. And I think the world's going to want to do business with America over wanting to do business with, China, because they really don't care much about human rights. We've seen it now with the Houthis. Excuse me, not the Houthis.
Oh yeah, I just got the war plans texted to me for that.
Oh, the Houthis situation.
Thanks, Pete, for that. I'll keep an eye out on it.
Yo, you talk about the biggest, just blunder. You would have thought, like.
And the way they handled it, they really screwed up. They what they should have said was like, "Oops, yeah, nobody's put an ex-girlfriend on a Twitter thread." And they should have made light of it and said, "Yeah, sorry, oops." But they're using an app. The whole effing military runs on Signal. Like you've heard Chris, Swamp Creature Chris. Everybody uses it in the U.S. government, in the military, and it's basically because the U.S. government helped create it, so they know it's secure. And it was just so funny though. They should have made light of it. Instead, they're out there going, no, trying to deny it and stuff. And the reporters got it. I got on in my old days of contracting with the government. I received an email that it was clearly addressed to another Tom, but the guy wrote Tom Herlihy instead on it and put me in it with 20 other people discussing some rather sensitive stuff on how the government constructs things and certain things. It wasn't classified info because they're using email, but it was sensitive stuff that was really they didn't want their a supplier to know, because then I know how they build things and I know how to bid better than my competitors. And I called the guy up. I'm like, hey, before you hit any replies on that, you just so you know that I'm on that thread. And he thanked me a lot. He's like, oh, thanks. I really appreciate it. And he said, I appreciate it that you did it by calling me instead of replying by email, because they don't monitor the calls, Yeah. But every email that a government person gets is archived forever. And he was like, oh, thanks. Sure enough,
That's Hillary.
2 other people in the email thread just started replying like crazy. And I got I got like 40 emails before they finally got me off the whole chain.
Yeah, it's interesting is, the whole entire situation with Hillary and how she was replying from a private server, right? And what I thought was so interesting is it's almost like, the right and the left, they sit there and they make the same mistakes. And they really do. It's like, you would think that they would learn from each other and go, you know what, we screwed up. Yeah, we handled that bad, and let's just deal with it, right? Like, yeah, we need to do better service and make sure that we understand what's going on. Yes, we said some things that were probably inappropriate, and seeing some of this stuff is not okay. Obviously, the vice president wasn't too happy about a couple things, as well as a few of the other people here should have been more professional.
Right.
Right. Like, it could have just been handled that way and to say, our bad, sorry. And you could have been crucified for about a month and then boom. But now the way they handle it, this just gets tucked back into, the Democrats, armor, and they can sit there and they can use this as a shooting point for during, re-elections. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle their next mistake, because they're human. They're going to make another mistake. We've already seen 2 major mistakes with this current administration, and it's going to be interesting to watch. Now, even with a lot of the mistakes, from a financial standpoint, Trump is doing. They're handling it very well, and Bass is doing a great job. It was really interesting listening to what's his name. Not David Sachs. Why am I forgetting his name? Who's the head guy in who are the characters for all and sorry about that. I just had to. And by the way, our screen is still the thumbnail, just so you know.
You must be behind, because I'm looking at it and it seems fine. I'm watching it on my phone.
Let me make sure again. Oh, you're right. Never mind. Yeah, we are good to go. And
wait, I've got the
yep.
Caroline Levitt's gonna have a press briefing soon, and I brought it up to see just what fun it may be, but it's not on yet.
Jason Calacanis, I always messes it, known as the moderator. Yeah. He was talking about how he doesn't like Trump. He's a never Trump guy. Calls himself that way. But it was really funny as he was sitting there and he was talking about him. He goes, Trump has like 3 gay men on his on I think it was 3, I forget exactly how many, but he has gay men that were once Democrats on his administration board, cabinet. And I started laughing because I thought about all my Christian friends, who are really against, just the idea of even them having any position, them being, the gay community, right? Any position, but they have more very conservative monetary views, very conservative. Like, hey, let's not throw money to everybody, and
right.
and I started laughing because I said he's right, and I go, why is it that the left is lambasting this man when you see him openly, you call him a Nazi and somebody who hates, the LGBTQ plus community? Literally, you're watching him hiring them, and some of the best there are in the industry, right? That's just one of the best. I mean, some say him and what's the owner? I'm forgetting his name. The book Principles by, come on, brain. Anyways, So,
The book Principles.
yeah. For whatever reason, I can't remember the guy's name. He's a hedge fund manager. He's a great macro view investor. He knows how. I mean, one of the largest hedge funds in the world. Bassett also ran one of the largest hedge funds in the world. Incredibly brilliant. Him. Who's the old bridge water?
Oh, it doesn't show the picture. Oh, there it is. Oh, this thing's not interpreting hashtags correctly. Oh, in Ottawa, where the northern global headquarters of DYOR Media, they trashed the Tesla dealership with fire extinguishers full of paint. Even though Elon Musk is not doing anything to Canada at all. I mean, he's not cutting their budget. So the protesters,
I saw that.
The woke mind virus people are protesting him up there also because he's done absolutely nothing to harm Canada.
Ray Dalio.
Ray Dalio, yes.
Yes. All right, go ahead. Keep going with that. You know what I thought was so interesting? I was reading through that. It's literally young men trying to be passionate about, and they even said, we're trying to stand up for something here. But completely wrong. We're standing up for climate control. And this company is a large company and they're hurting. And yet the very company that actually has done more for climate control than any other company out there. I mean, am I wrong? Was it me? Did I?
You know, Elon should have come
like,
out today on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and said, just to let you know, we've heard you, ladies and gentlemen. We get the message. We will no longer make electric cars. We're switching over to diesel. We got it. You don't want electric cars anymore. We get it. We're getting rid of our solar too. We're going to put in a big nuclear power plant, and not the new kind. We're getting the Chernobyl one. We're going to take it off the Ukrainians' hands, and we're going to bring it over here. He should have trolled them to death. We heard you. God. We're sorry. We'll stop this electric car business. That's it. We're going to be just nothing but diesel. In fact, we're going to use the bunker fuel oil that no one else wants. It's really thick and dirty. And we'll be the ones doing it. It'll be awesome.
Dude, he should have, dude. That would have been
it would have been so epic. The best troll ever. Tesla announces using bunker fuel oil.
Yeah.
And they're pushing for changes in the EPA rules to allow it to be completely unfiltered. And unrelated news, bringing back Camel unfiltered cigarettes also. Ladies and gentlemen, while Pedro's laughing.
Dirty cool.
Right, dirty cool. I got the Ice Raid logo up over here, ladies and gentlemen. Ice Raid was supposed to go out yesterday. Didn't. I think it's going to go out for launch on Thursday. I am not sure of that. I think what's going to happen, it's just going to launch without a big deal to get out there a little bit more stealthy. So pay attention to Ice Raid, ladies and gentlemen. It's part of the GovFi project. GovFi. Let's see if this works here. There we go. Look at that. The GovFi project, or GovFi is a term that Jason Myers of Audit Chain developed, and it signifies things that the government does that would be better suited in now blockchain and Web3 era that people could do on their own and get paid for it. Instead of having fleets of government employees doing labor that they don't really want to do, crowdsource it and pay people to do it using blockchain, Web3, and that type of stuff. A good example of that is the very first GovFi project. Is our sponsor Audit Chain, their Pacioli product. Pacioli validates the filings that companies put into the SEC, and along with in the EU and in other jurisdictions as well. But for the purpose of this show today, I'll talk about the SEC. Pacioli validates those and lets the people know that are either creating the documents or short sellers that are reviewing for problems if there's an issue with the financials that the company has submitted. And instead of hiring fleets of people for the SEC to review all these things, we can now do it manually and get paid for, or via validating nodes in a Web3 manner and get paid to do it. Same with Ice Raid over here. The whole evidence collection business is expensive for the government. It's time consuming because they don't have a lot of resources. How about instead of the government trying to go out and find evidence, every bit of evidence for any crime that's out there in the United States, people can submit via Ice Raid if they witness illegal immigration happening, if they witness domestic terrorism, if they witness people setting fire on Teslas, or if you're a Tesla owner and you have video of someone damaging your car, you can upload it too. And all this information is available for law enforcement to use and track down the perpetrators for that. And the best part about it is that you get paid. Ice Raid uses artificial intelligence to ensure that what you're submitting is valid, and there's some sort of manual review process as well to prevent spam. And you can get paid. How about that? You get paid for doing stuff that the government otherwise would have to expend a lot of money on. And none of this is funded by the government. It's funded by good old-fashioned crypto, although I imagine with time, a couple of government grants here and there to help fund it will work well. But pay attention to Ice Raid, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a good thing, and the whole GovFi project thing is going to kind of change everything for everybody anyway. Because eventually someone's going to say, well, let's GovFi the IRS, and that's the next one we hope happens. Ladies and gentlemen, Ice Raid.
It's going to be really interesting is to see what happens with new technology that correlates with that, right? I think we're going to see if people start to make real money. I see other countries maybe picking it up, not just America, but instead of, the part that I kind of am a little nervous about is the people policing themselves to a point where it almost becomes a dystopian way to earn money and basically screw over your neighbor, almost like Nazi Germany, how there was a law that was created, if you know where a Jew is, snitch on your neighbor and kill
him. That's definitely a problem.
Possibility. Yeah.
Who's the richest guy on the block? The guy that tattles on everyone.
Yeah.
He's homeowner association Karen.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing that can be used, right? Especially right now where we're watching a lot of vandalism going on, social justice that are becoming, violent physically. So, and I'm watching a lot of these memes just kind of go in, and I saw this one meme. I saw this guy post this on my Facebook page. Basically, social justice is not right, and then he
Whoop, whoop. Right. And tokenized. But I frequently bring this up, is that I worry about that. As you remove barriers to entries into markets and make things easier to buy, then large companies start to buy everything easily, or groups with tons of money. And imagine the housing market. The housing market is difficult. And you probably heard me talk about this before. The housing market is difficult to buy a lot of stuff in because it's very local. You have to do, for each piece of property you buy, you have to do all the title work to it. You have to do a lot of legal work and overhead and expense. That's not easy to automate. And imagine if all that went away and you could tokenize housing. And there's lots of companies working on it, but they're making it a very hard way. They're creating companies that own the house so that the local town still gets all its paperwork normally. And then they're tokenizing shares of that company. They're not actually tokenizing the real estate. But imagine if you could just tokenize your real estate. You could just open up an app and say, here's my house. I'm going to sell 1 million tokens in the house. And whoever has the most of them can come live in it for a month or something, whatever the story is. BlackRock would buy everything they could. They would, any extra cash they had, they would buy real estate because it appreciates so much. And they would lobby for strict zoning laws so to keep supply low. And soon there would be 4 landlords in the whole country because they would just buy everything. They would pay premiums for everything because they know with their power they could cause the prices to go up. So I worry about that. That unless there's strict laws against people owning more than a small amount of property, it's not a good thing in some cases. And I think tokenizing real estate is actually a bad thing. Jesus Christ. That's a lot of documents. Well, it's 1,000 gigabytes, and gigabytes, 1,000 megabytes. And, I mean, it's right. Well, it depends if they're scanned documents versus ASCII characters. It's totally different size. A terabyte is, that's a lot. I mean, we do every one of these shows for a 2-hour show generates a 7 gigabyte file. And so, you know, 100, I'm not going to try and do the math right now, but it's a lot. It right, it's a terabyte. Oh, at least more than that, maybe 3 weeks ago. Well, it depends. There's like in a scanned document, is it 300 DPI? Is it 150 DPI? Is it 600 DPI? Is it black and white? Is it color? I, I'll just say a typical scan document that's a lousy scan and is 2 megabytes. So it'd be 2,000 kilobytes. Just go with it. How many pages of document? Just ask that. How many pages of documents in 1 terabyte of digital information? I gotta tell you, everyone should just go read Elon's thread once a day for 5 minutes. Hey, I gotta take this call from my sister striking. She's trying to get my attention. Yeah. Well, it's probably something where someone thought they deleted it and it's just in the trash can. It's just empty trash. No, restore. Oh, there they all are. They probably didn't have to go in and do some, get the special device out to read the how the magnetism was on the hard drive. They probably just hit the undelete. Oh, just hit Control Z, undelete. Yeah, but you can go on. I mean, everything that's on your hard drive stays there until it's overwritten. Um, they've hired Republican people to be on their thing now. They realized that they went over the edge and their viewership went to heck. I used to watch CNN all the time, to be honest, because it was a good source of information. Especially they do a great job when something happens in far corners of the world. They've got reporters everywhere. They've got a couple of geopolitical reporters that are really good people. This one lady, she speaks like 95 languages. I can't remember her name. She speaks every language. Like anything happens anywhere in the world, she's there. She's amazing. And she speaks Russian, she speaks Ukrainian, she speaks Chinese, she speaks French, she speaks English, she speaks Spanish, Italian. And she just rips it off. And anyway, I'm going on and on. They have a lot of good stuff going on there. But for US politics, I don't know why they thought it was so important to focus on one side, because they weren't like that historically. They were pretty neutral. Yeah, they were moderate. Yeah, they weren't crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if that is going on at some point. Why did that come back? Well, I started the day with no technical problems, but they've shown their ugly head. Well, it happened in Canada. I mean, so if it happened in Canada, it's likely happening in the US too. Left. Well, the prime minister was. He's taking $200,000 a year from them. and it's not a secret. It's not like, oh, that's fake news. It's like, no, my foundation takes $200,000 a year from the Chinese government, and people are like, well, that's not right. And he's like, well, it's just a foundation. It's fine. The foundation does good. It's like it supports your family. Right. I would call it treason because you're taking money from a foreign power. I mean, if they paid you, like if England paid you to, promote Queen's English instead of American English, that's one kind of impropriety. But if China pays you, or Russia, or Kazakhstan pays you to say, hey, this information isn't public, but we'd like to know about this stuff. Oh, that's just we want you to stir up some online muckety muck. Oh, camera just shut off again. Why does it automatic rumble? What are you doing to us? Just no, I have to. It's just weird. I just have to reload the page, and now it's reloaded, and it's low resources. I'm gonna. Humble. That seems to be better. I hate it when I try. We've traditionally used Vimeo as our content delivery platform, and I switched to Rumble's new studio because we want to be part of their creator program, and you have to use their studio. And Rumble, it bites ass. Those are technical terms, ladies and gentlemen. Bites ass. What was I doing? I was just reviewing Elon's. Let's Once again, I got the time zone wrong. I'm thinking, we still got plenty of time left. We've been talking for 2 hours. I'm cashing it in. I want the monies. Got to pay the rent. Hey, let's just I put some things in the comment section here. Oop, come on back up. Charlie Kirk posts, the border was closed. They said, actually, we needed a bipartisan border bill. They said, we needed to address the root causes of illegal immigration. They said, they were all dead wrong. Thank you, President Trump, for ending the invasion and proving they were all frauds. Just the graphic here that's shown shows the past couple of years of very high numbers of illegal immigrants crossing the border. And then in March of 2025, there's actually negative 7,000. So 7,000 on a net basis, 7,000 people left the country. So we have reverse illegal immigration now, either from being deported or leaving before they get deported, so they can go back and sign up at the embassy and get in line for legal immigration. Found that to be interesting. Another one that I had lined up here was that during President Biden's administration, the FBI had a gag order about the Hunter Biden laptop thing. They put it out, said, don't put it in print anywhere, don't email it, don't put it in FBI chat rooms and things like that, because all that stuff is recorded. Unbelievable. Oh, and then this is what I wanted to do before that. Just I'm going to record this here separately from the rest. And in Bitcoin.com news, Eric Trump champions blockchain's edge over banks, saying there's not a single thing that those banks do that can't be done better, cheaper, more efficiently, faster on blockchain. How do you see blockchain outpacing banks? From Bitcoin.com's newsfeed. Also, they posted recently, Bitcoin's March mining saga revenue slid 20 million as hash price swung 6.5% yet hash rate smashed records. Blocks sped up, fees crashed to 1/4 or one. I don't even know how to read that. 1-4 sat. 1/4 sat per. I'm not a student of mining, but a sat is 100 millionth of a Bitcoin, and 1/4 of a sat, not very much. Miners leaned harder on subsidies. Miners netted 1.2 billion in March, but fees plunged 8% versus February. Interesting. Just some news from Bitcoin.com. Thought I'd practice shilling them to give their sales guys some idea of the coverage that they would get on this show that 3 people watched today. You're on mute, my friend. Yeah, we do. We do well on Rumble after the show. We probably just have a different, maybe coming up we'll try some different times or something like that. Oh, no, we could go on forever, but this is striking. Was supposed to come here today, so I had been in the middle of cleaning the apartment here, but she had to delay her trip by a day or two. And so all I'm going to do is put the green screen away and clean up the joint. when she's not around, the green screen stays up all the time. It's and in the United States global headquarters of we'll say the Chicago office of DYOR Media. It's a big open loft here, and the green screen just divides the whole thing in half because I hang it from the lights. And so for me, I don't care. I'm a guy. I'm like, whatever, it's a green screen. You just gotta move it to the side to see the TV, and you sit on the couch. But when she's here, she's like, yeah, no, that needs to go away. I don't know either. They're not gonna be dicks, he says. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro and I are just rambling on. Thanks for tuning in to Technical Tuesday. We really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone on Rumble. You've been leading the pack with the most number of views lately. And we're waiting to hear back if we made the Rumble creator program or not. Hopefully we have. We've got the hours in. We've got the followers. We've got great content. Right. We don't have the enough viewers yet. So. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to host another award-winning show called DYOR Live today. We'll see you tomorrow.